Check one. Check one, check one, check two. Testing, testing.
It's your girl. Why you cut it on when I said that part? Okay.
Testing, testing. All right, y'all. My name is Bryce Randall. I'm a community affairs advisor for Precinct One. Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to let y'all know about a resource that we have available to you thanks to the Harris County Clerk's Office. On the left side of the room, we have voting machine demo set up for you. So if you want to familiarize yourself with how those machines work, it's a little too close to my mouth. If you want to familiarize yourself with how those machines work, we highly encourage you to get with Ms. Lynn Mumford over there. She'll help show you how the voting machines work. You can familiarize yourself with the process, so that way when you go into the polling location, you already know what you're doing. We're going to be getting started pretty shortly here, so we thank you for your patience. If you haven't already, there is food and refreshments in the back. And then we also want you to take a look at that League of Women Voters voter guide and the bags on your chairs. There's some very, very good information in there about your ballot, what's going to be on it for the upcoming election. So thank y'all, and we'll be getting started shortly.
y'all so much. Good evening, everyone. I'm a walker and a talker, so with me. We would like to welcome you all to Precinct One Voter Education Committee meeting. This meeting is hosted by the Office of Commissioner Ryan Evans, who is Precinct One's County Commissioner. We are part of the Community Affairs and Advocacy team. I'm a Community Affairs Advisor. We are led by our Director, Sasha, who is in the back. And so early voting started yesterday. Early voting started Monday, and we wanted to be sure that we still provided a space and opportunity for folks to know what's on the ballot before they get to the polls. We did, while we were doing outreach, a lot of folks were like, I already voted. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of early. But we know that a lot of people still have not voted, and that it is actually also waiting until election day. So today we're going to give you kind of a lot of information, but we have many resources for you to be able to take home. We are streaming this, okay, for the folks who are online. Feel free to pause for your previous good time for them to feel like you can do that as well. So we're all family here. Even if I don't know you, you're now our Precinct One family, so welcome. And I'm going to bring up Amanda Scott, who is graciously over this time.
Hello, everyone. Great evening. Oh no, we can do better than that. But I know we're all excited about being here. When I say great evening, I need to make some noise. Great evening. Wonderful. My name is Amanda Scott. I'm the general manager of Amazing 102.5 FM, followed by Bread of Life, which is our nonprofit that provides community services only. So if you're looking for another community radio station, our recipients ask that you follow our movement. Do that by getting in your car and when you're downtown anytime or you can dial the 102.5 and you talk about this. And if you're looking for opportunity to volunteer with an organization that gives back to the community in a big way, then I would encourage you to go to breadoflifegroup.org, where the founder is Dr. Lee Rasmus, and so again, we welcome you here. There are restrooms in this. You can go out this way. You can do that. You can go to that. There's restrooms available. Please information and follow our movement. We want to support movement that are here in our community. So when we call to say community, and so we appreciate all of you for being here. And thank you. Follow. Free payments. App so you can download. Listening today.
I want to Ellis remarks with us. Before I bring up Commissioner Ellis, I want to take a minute to share a point of personal privilege and thank Commissioner Ellis for making voting rights and civic engagement an important part of the work that we do here at Precinct One. So welcome, Commissioner Ellis.
Which one should I use? This one? You tell me. Which one? This one? This one? The gold. What's that? The gold finger. I used to be on. You don't remember that. The gold finger. You got it on? There it is. It came on? Yeah. Magic touch. Thank you all for being here tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. And one of my chief advisors told me to make sure that I get it right. when we did the telephonic town hall meeting, was that last night or night before? Monday night. You getting that echo? When we did that Monday night, I said St. John's Baptist Church. It is St. John's United Methodist Church, but I didn't get the address all right, and I appreciate you all letting us have it here. Amanda, thank you for the work that you do. My members of my staff here, I want you to see them. You know, they really make it happen. I'm going to call them out, no particular, Tanisha, you heard from earlier from Sunnyside, by the way. Sasha Leggett, who's over the community engagement team, does a great job. Bryce Randall, thank you, Bryce. Amber Reed, I saw somewhere, Amber Reed, there you are, in the back. Erica Foster, I want to say Erica Fowler, Erica Foster. Zoe Middleton, I think I saw out there. Christina Lopez, are you here, Christina? Christina Lopez, thank you. Pastor Dan, I told him, give me the names, he forgot his own name. That's a real problem. You forget your own name. Did I skip anyone? Call your name out if I forgot. Who did I forget? Nisha Randall. Yeah, there you are, Nisha. Oh, you did, that's right, you did skip one. Nisha Randall. Is it Maureen Haver? Anybody else I skip? Angel, her name is on it. Look, they do a great job. And I say that because I know usually when people want to know something, they figure if they just get to the politician, you just get to the mayor, you get to the congressperson, you get to the judge, it's really those people in the organization. There are about 412 in Precinct 1 who really make it happen. So I want to make sure. Danielle, I didn't call your name, I did it. Danielle handles social media. All of the stuff that you're angry about, he did it. The stuff you're happy about, I posted it. It's important for us to be here tonight. I have not voted yet. I am going to vote tomorrow because there are a number of constitutional amendments and other things on the ballot. I have not read enough to know how to vote. And it was a minister who called me and asked for some advice. So I asked my staff, can you give me some sense of how you think I ought to vote? I may not agree. And they did. Then I said, now send me something that lets me know why you think I ought to vote that way. They sent me the League of Women Voters voting ad, which was very helpful to give me both sides, each of those amendments to help me decide what to do. This meeting is not to tell you how to vote. And I sincerely mean this. I don't care how you vote. And if it's legal for me to do one, even when I'm on the ballot, I'm going to do it. And I want you to know, I don't even care if you vote for me. I care more that you vote. The turnout in Houston and Harris County is particularly low. In a mayoral race in 2015, 20.5% of the eligible voters in Houston showed up to vote. In 2019, 12% of the eligible voters showed up to vote. And that's why I wanted to come out, give you those stats, have these meetings, make sure we explain to you everything we can to make it as easy as possible for you to vote. During my time in state government, it was always a battle to protect voting rights. And it was one number of close allies. So that's why we have this, that's why we're live streaming it. That's why my staff, I appreciate them being there to do a telephonic town hall meeting on Monday night. There are a lot of places they would have preferred to be. That's why we put that voters guide out to help make it as easy as possible. The freedom to vote is a hallowed right won through sacrifice. People lost their lives. It was won through struggle, where generations fought and bled for us to have the right to vote. That's why we want to educate you and do as much as we can to encourage people to go and vote. And people who here tonight, by and large, are leaders. You have an impact on other people in your communities. Over the past several years, the right to vote has faced escalating threats. You've read about it, not just in stuff I put out. The Supreme Court gutted vital protections under the landmark Voting Rights Act, a big part of Martin Luther King's legacy, one of the most outstanding achievements in terms of the civil rights movement and the history of this country. These protections have yet to be restored, clearing the way for states like Texas to build barriers to the ballot that need to be torn down. As an example, during the pandemic in Harris County, we could honestly say we made it as easy for you to vote as it was to go to the grocery store. During challenging times, everything from drive-through voting, we were going to try to do a Democrat, Republican, black, white, brown, South Asian, whatever you are, we're going to send them to everybody. Everyone who believes in the fundamental freedoms, promise, in protecting, strengthening, and serving our democracy. It begins with voting. It also is an election. You'll protect the right to vote. It's a challenging time for people to be election workers. We're still going to spend an unprecedented amount of money to do as much as we can. We pay election workers more than we paid in the past because we know there's more risk. People could end up being sued for that, so we're doing all we can. We're hosting a night's event. We did the town hall meeting, as I said. We did the mail out. We're doing everything we can to give you the resources that we hope you need and you take out to your community. So thank you for coming. My staff's got a great program. I'm going to let you all go through it. Now, I haven't checked out the food because I reached another milestone in my life, another birthday coming up in April. You got some help with that?
Vegetable and fruit trade.
Vegetable and fruit trades. And sandwiches. When I came in, I saw some of my friends from Pure Justice eating the bread. Take one piece of bread off. You don't have to eat it all. But you mark my word, and don't say I'm ill when you see by April 7th, I plan on getting 201 sometime, maybe about 2 or 3. I'm supposed to get to 185. I'm going to do my best to get to 190. That's 10 pounds if you weigh certain times of the day, 13 pounds if I go away right now. So I want to challenge you to lose some weight too. I want to be around as long as I can. So thank you. I'm riding a bike, but here's the rule. It's 80-20. 80% of losing weight is what you eat. 20% is you riding a bike. And they're telling me, you got to switch up the exercise. I need to ride and walk. I need to do weights because I don't have an hour every day to ride a bike. And you see me riding, I'm talking on the phone. I'm not getting I'm not going as fast as I ought to go because I'm talking, doing other stuff. All right, thank you all for coming, and this is your prayers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Ellis. That's a tough man to follow. We're going to do our best, all right? So, once again, I just want to thank y'all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come out here and learn this information. It's extremely important. And it's especially encouraging to see so many young people in the room as well, too, including my little sister back there. Yeah. Just turned 21. So thank y'all for coming out. So, I want to make sure that we don't go over time. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through this agenda. We're going to be very thorough, but we're also going to be very efficient as well. So these are some things that we're going to cover. We're going to go over your ballot. It's going to be on it, some information that you need to know. We're also going to talk about some important upcoming dates. Ballot by mail, it's my favorite subject. We're going to spend a little bit more time on that one. Polling locations, resources that are available to you. And then we're going to top it off with a Q&A. And then if you didn't have a chance to test out the voting machines, thank you to my former colleague, Ms. Lynn, at the elections office. She will have those machines available for you to test out so you can familiarize yourself with that process. So without further ado, go ahead and get into it. All right. So, the ballot. If you have voted in Harris County elections before, you'll be happy to know that the ballot is only one page. Well, the average ballot is only going to be one page. If you voted in previous Harris County elections, you probably know that the ballot has gotten to as long as 3 pages long. So, it's one ballot paper this time. Also, your ballot is going to be based on where you live. This is a municipal election, so a lot of your races outside of the Texas constitutional amendments are going to be based on your location. Also, so you can expect to see the statewide races as far as the Texas constitutional amendments. You may also see some municipal utility districts on there, city council members, the mayor, et cetera, et cetera. So we can go on to the next. All right, so your ballot. I really want y'all to tap into this really amazing resource. It's called your sample ballot. So I want y'all to commit this to memory, harrisvotes.com. That is going to be the resource that you really want to tap into, because everything that you need in regards to Harris County elections is going to be on that website. That is also where you can find your sample ballot. So remember what I said, your ballot is going to be based on your location. You're going to put in your address on harrisvotes.com, and then you'll get a personalized sample ballot that's going to show you all the races that you are going to be voting in based on your address. We also have sample ballots available for you. Now, I do want to give you a disclaimer. With these sample ballots, there may be some races on there that don't apply to y'all. So like I said, when you go look at your sample ballot online, you're going to get the personalized one. But you can at least take a look at this and use it as a cheat sheet, get yourself familiarized with the ballot and what's going to be on there. Also, fun fact, you can actually take your sample ballot with you into your polling location. So what you can do is combine the sample ballot along with that League of Women Voters voter guide that you have in your bags and your chairs. Go through that voter guide, look at some of the selections, look at some of the races, familiarize yourself, and then you can use your sample ballot as a cheat sheet and mark off those selections. Fold that into your pocket and take it with you to your polling location. Now there is a disclaimer that I want to give y'all about going into the polling location. Y'all don't want to walk in there with that phone on. See? Do it up. And that's exactly what you don't want to happen while you're voting. When you walk into that polling location, you want to make sure you have that phone off, on do not disturb, on silent, but you cannot have your phone out once you're in the polling location and you start voting. So that's why we highly recommend take that sample ballot with you, use it as a cheat sheet.
Print it out. Okay, so you probably cannot see this. It's okay. I'm going to read it out. These are all of the possible races that can be on your ballot. Depending on where you live, you likely will not see all of these races. We highlighted those in yellow, gold, because those are colors, because those are the ones within Precinct 1. So if you don't live in Precinct 1, you may see some of those that are in white. But if you see those in the other colors, then those are Precinct 1 races. So there are 14 state constitutional amendments on the ballot. No matter where you live in this state, you're going to see 14 state constitutional amendments. We won't dive into them as much, but I do want to let you know they're pretty worthy. I like to tell people, I went to law school and I still am always like, what does this mean? So before you get to the polls, it is best that you take a look through either the League of Women's Voters Guide, or you can look online on the state website to get an explanation of what these amendments mean before you vote yes or no all the way down, because voters tend to say, well, I don't know, so I'm just going to say yes, or they skip it. But these are very important, and there are 14 that you have until November 7th to get an understanding of. Then there's one Harris County hospital bond. Although we work for Harris County, we are Harris County employees. I am not here today to tell you to vote yes or no. I'm here to tell you that there is a Harris County hospital bond on your ballot if you live in Harris County, which we do. And that is basically a hospital bond to give funds towards Harris County hospitals and clinics. Then there are 2 City of Houston charter amendments. So if you live in the City of Houston, then you will see these charter amendments. If you don't live in the City of Houston, you will not see these charter amendments. There are 2 charter amendments. Again, I'm not here to break them down fully for you. However, the guide does break them down for you. And again, they are wordy. And sometimes they use terminology that we are like, why couldn't you just say it this way? They don't do that. So you want to make sure that you understand before you vote yes or no. City of Houston mayor will be on the ballot if you live in the City of Houston. There are 17 candidates. Then there's the City of Houston controller that will be on the ballot. City of Houston council members, you're going to see a total of 6 because there's a district that you live in that you have to vote for that particular district. And then there's the at-large races, which there are 5. So you should see 6 City of Houston council members on your ballot
depending on where you live, if in the city of Houston, it'll be Councilmember A through K. Then you have the Houston ISD trustee positions. Yes, we know. We know. We won't even go there, right? However, they will still be on the ballot. And if anything was to ever happen, whoever is in those positions at that time, they will have authority. So it is still required and mandated that we vote for those positions. Okay, so don't be surprised, like, what are you doing on here? If you are within that jurisdiction, yes, you will see them on the ballot. Same with Aldine ISD. These are trustee positions. In City of Bel Air, there are some positions. If you live outside of this precinct, you may see Baytown, A-Leaf ISD, Huffman ISD. There are a lot of other races. These are local elections, so it really, really depends on your zip code. Okay, next slide. Then you have your municipal utility districts. So there are some unincorporated areas where they take care of their own water, electricity, utilities, things like that. You have to vote for those folks who are in charge of that. And so, again, if you are outside of the city jurisdiction, then you may be voting for your money. Some of y'all are probably like, I've never seen this a day in my life, you still won't see it. But if you do live in that area, then you vote for those board members who are the overseers of those utility districts. There are a lot. Just go to harrisvotes.com. And if you don't see it on your sample ballot, don't call us, don't worry about it. It's not for you. If you do, call the county clerk's office, okay? Important dates. Friday, October 27th, that is 2 days from now. If you want to vote by mail, you have to apply to vote by mail. The application is due Friday, 2 days from now. What does that mean? If you mail it in and they don't receive it by Friday, Houston, we have a problem. So your best bet is to hand deliver your physical copy. I think, Bryce, you're gonna walk through that a little bit more. But the last day is Friday. Morgan, did I get that right? Friday, the 27th. Okay. This weekend is weekend voting. I'm so excited. Yes, because we don't work on the weekend, so we can vote. Now, Commissioner, he'll say, go vote. But for those who are not doing anything this weekend, then you can be outside and go vote. Week. So Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you are able to vote. Sunday, 12 p.m. This is the only day out of all of these days that the polls will not be open at 7 a.m. Why? Who knows? But from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m., you can vote on Sunday. So keep those dates in mind. If you run into family members, it's like, oh, I have something to do. Oh, good. You can vote this weekend. The last day of early voting is Friday, November 3rd. The last day of early voting is Friday, November 3rd. Tuesday, November 7th is Election Day. Yes, you do not have to wait till Tuesday. But it's okay if you do. Tuesday, November 7th, that is the last opportunity to vote. So we like to say it's Election Day is the last day to vote. You cannot wake up on the 8th and say, I forgot, oh well. So November 7th is Election Day. Now at the bottom we have Saturday, December 9th. If there's a runoff election, typically with local elections like this, because there are always so many candidates, there may be a runoff election. That will be on Saturday, December 9th. So we need you to get back out there, because the numbers seem to drop on those runoff elections. But we need folks to vote the same way for runoff elections. Okay, go ahead.
All right, ballot by mail in Texas. Before I get into this, a little bit about me. I currently serve as a community affairs advisor for Precinct One. But before that, I spent nearly 2 years working for the Harris County Elections Department. Sorry, I should have said that earlier. I was so excited to get started. I forgot to introduce myself. But with that being said, probably one of the biggest issues and one of the things that we got the most calls about was post SB1, the changes to ballot by mail. So I really want to get y'all some good information about this. And I encourage you, once we do Q&A, if you have additional questions, please ask us. because we know the process is a little complicated. Lynn is already looking at me like, all right. So, with that being said, I don't like to read word for word from the slides, but for this specific slide, I will. So, in order to be eligible to vote by mail, you must be one of these things: 65 years of age or older on election day, sick or disabled, expected to give birth within 3 weeks before or after election day, be out of the county on election day and during the early voting period, or confined in jail or involuntary civil commitment but eligible to vote. So that's what's going to qualify you to vote by mail. Now, let's get to the rest. Next slide. All right, so now I want to go over the ballot by mail process. So first off, in order to vote by mail, you have to apply. Now the clock is ticking because the application deadline is this Friday. So if you plan on voting by mail, you might want to put a little bit of pep in yourself, all right? So in order to request a ballot by mail, you need to contact Harris County Clerk's office, more specifically the Elections Department, and you can do that by calling them at 713-755-6965 or by visiting, what's my favorite website? Harris. There we go, commit that to memory. Now, I want to give you a little bit of information about this deadline. I know Tanisha touched on it earlier, but I want to reiterate it. When it comes to your ballot by mail application, that needs to be in their hands by the end of the day, October 27th. So if you're worried that you won't be able to get that application mailed into them on time, my recommendation, right, is to go to NRG, which is basically, think of it as Vote Central, right, the base of operations for voting in Harris County. You want to go to NRG and make sure you turn in that application in person if you're worried that it won't get to them in time, because it has to be in their hands, not postmarked by the 27th. So, you want to make sure you do that. It's best practice. All right. So, to avoid delays with your mail ballot applications, this is something that you're really going to want to pay attention to. First thing, you're going to need either your Texas driver's license number, your personal ID, or your election identification certificate number, and then B, the last 4 digits of your social security number. Now, with that being said, you don't have to do both your driver's license and the last 4 of your social, but in order to avoid delays, we highly recommend that you put both if you can. And the reason why is because SB1 made it a requirement that on your vote by mail application and ballot, you have to make sure that you put the number down that you initially used when you registered to vote. Now, a lot of people registered to vote decades ago. They don't remember if they used their driver's license or the last 4 of their social. With that being said, best practice, we want you to make sure that you, if you can, put down the last 4 of your social and your ID number, just to avoid any delays. Also, we recommend that you put down your contact information. There's going to be a space where you can put down your phone number. That way, if there's any issues with your mail ballot application or your ballot, the county clerk's office can actually contact you directly and have a quicker process of getting you taken care of. Next, before sending the envelope on your actual ballot, you want to make sure you fill out the required ID information in full. And then you also want to make sure that you provide your number, like I said. And then after sending the envelope, this is the most important part, sign it. I can't tell y'all how many people's ballots that we got back without a signature. In order for us to be able to process you, well, not us, I'm not with the elections office no more. But in order for the elections office to be able to process you, you gotta have that signature. So you wanna make sure that you follow those steps to make sure you avoid delays.
Yes. Okay, early voting. There are 68 voting sites, voting locations, polling sites, 68 across the county. On election day, there are 701. So early voting from now until November 3rd, there are 68 places that you can vote. Election day, there are 701. NRG will serve as a voting location for early voting and election day. So if all else fails, just go to NRG to vote. As well as a ballot drop box location. So if you have a mail-in ballot, you can drop it off at NRG. You can find real wait times and voting locations at harrisvotes.com. Even if you don't want to do the /vote centers, it'll be on the front page. Note, you can vote at any location regardless of your address. So a couple of years ago, you had to go within your zip code. A couple years ago that changed, and so now you can vote anywhere in the county. So even if you live on the north side, but you happen to be on the south side, and you're like, you know what, it's a short voting line over here, you can go over there and vote, because once you put in your information, you're gonna get your same ballot that is for your zip code. So you can vote anywhere in the county. I really want to emphasize that. Now, we do all have our favorite voting locations, and so when we hear the concerns about long lines and things, it's totally fine to leave your favorite voting location and vote somewhere else, because you will still receive the same ballot that you would have at that location, okay? Next slide. Again, all polls will open at 7 o'clock a.m. and close at 7 p.m. on all early voting days except for this Sunday, it'll be at 12, and on election day. So 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 12 hours every day. As long as you are in line by 7 p.m., you will be able to vote at that location. So curbside voting does exist. This is for individuals who are physically unable to enter into a voting site or a polling location without assistance or likelihood of affecting their health. A lot of people don't quite know this, but at every polling location, there should be a buzzer that you can press. You can drive up, you can press this buzzer, and an election worker will be able to assist you. They've been trained, they know to come out to assist you. And the portable voting machine will be brought to you. There are a couple of nuances to this. I believe if you are being driven by someone, that person still has to go in to vote, but the person who is unable to get out, then they're able to go in the car. But if you drove, like if I was, well, they know I don't drive, but if, you know, I would have to still go in if I was in the car, okay?
All right, y'all. Y'all hear me? There we go. All right, so something that I want y'all to remember when you go vote is that when you enter a polling location and you meet the clerk, you see the alternate judge, you see the presiding judge, I want you to remember that those folks are there to help you. That's what they've been trained to do. So if you encounter any complications or you need assistance, please do not be shy about asking for it. Those resources are available to you for a reason. So with that being said, I want to talk about aids real quick. So aids are going to be provided free of charge. Aids for audio, visual impairments, and/or limited mobility. We do, and you actually think you'll be able to test that out on the machines if you do want to see what that looks like. And then also, you can bring somebody with you to the polling location if you need assistance. But with that being said, just remember that that person is going to have to sign an oath. It's basically just a form that they're going to have to fill out with the presiding judge that states, hey, I'm not influencing this person's vote, I'm just here to assist. Also, you can bring paper to the voting booth, so like I said, bring that sample ballot with you, use it as a cheat sheet. And then lastly, the election protection hotline. I want y'all to take a picture of that number. All right. So
866, our vote, that's 866-687-8683.
put that number in your phone. Though we have amazing people who are volunteering to be election judges, alternate judges, and clerks, we know we're not perfect. So with that being said, if by the off chance you have any issues at a polling location, maybe something doesn't sound right, call that number. That's what they're here for, right? It's to be a resource for you. So if you encounter any issues, make sure you give us a call at that number. And we'll go to the next slide. So this is my favorite thing to talk, one of my favorite things to talk about. So when I was at the elections office, one of my jobs was to do recruitment for poll workers. So with that being said, volunteering and being a paid volunteer for the elections office is a great opportunity. You really get to see the process, how the meat is made, and what happens behind the scenes for the election process. So with that being said, I highly recommend and encourage you to be an election worker, even if it's just one time. My little sister has done it. Stepmom back there has done it as well too. So I highly encourage y'all to do it. You can earn a little bit of extra money while doing it, but also get to see what happens behind the scenes at Harris County elections. So I highly recommend that y'all look into being a poll worker. So with that being said, early voting has already started. So most likely the clerk has filled the positions that they need for early voting, but then, no, oh. Okay, well, we might still have some vacancies for early vote. So, with that being said, early vote and election day. If you're interested in being an election worker, scan that QR code, get in contact with the clerk's office, and figure out where you can fit in. We might even be able to get you somewhere near your home. So I highly recommend that you do that. Shameless plug for my former colleagues. Make sure you volunteer and get paid for doing it. All right. So for any and all questions, where are we gonna go? HarrisVotes.com. All right, so y'all are learning. All right. So HarrisVotes.com is the one-stop shop for all of your information. If you need information about voter registration, ballot by mail, you want to get your sample ballot, you want to figure out which polling locations are closest to you, you want to figure out wait times, HarrisVotes.com. Commit that to memory. Next slide. All right, and then for your resource numbers, we do have resources at the clerk's office for not only English, but also Spanish speakers, Vietnamese, and Chinese. So if that is a resource you want to utilize, or you know somebody who could utilize it, make sure you get that to them. Notate that information. I see some folks taking pictures, so we'll leave it up for a second. All right. And, okay, we still got supposed to take pictures. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, I'm in the way. Yes, ma'am. All right, so we're good? All right? Okay. Speak now, forever hold your peace.
We can leave it up.
All right, so now what I want to do, we have the lovely Lynn here from the county clerk's office. She's just going to share some quick information about the voting machines.
Be real quick, man. You don't even have to talk about
Exactly. You don't got to give the keynote, Miss Lynn.
This is Joe Show. I'm just here in support, but the lights are open. We have the voting machines here for anyone who may like to try them if you haven't had an opportunity to use them yet. Some people don't vote in every election. That's fine. We're here to walk you through it, and so you're not intimidated. The goal is for you to build confidence. So when you walk into the polling location, you're sure you can go to the poll and cast your vote easily. And if not, you still feel sure enough to raise your hand and seek assistance. Now, when you get in, you can come in and ask for assistance, as I mentioned. If you don't need it, that's fine. Also, but if you do, what we have here on this device, that is a ADA compliant device, right? So there's an audio tactile device where if someone maybe they're visually impaired, they can use that to spin a wheel to help them navigate it. We also offer the ballot in different languages. We have to accommodate for English, Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese. Am I missing one? Did I say one? And if you need to listen to it, and things to consider. Maybe someone has had a stroke, and maybe they can't read it and comprehend it, but maybe they can hear it and comprehend it the same way. They're still able to still be self-sufficient, but maybe require a smidge bit of assistance. They can do that this way. Again, if someone is coming with them, they'll take the oath and say that they're able to be an assistant in whatever that is, and they'll fill out that affidavit and keep moving and going with the process. We also have the headphones if someone, again, if they're hearing impaired, maybe they need to hear it in a different language, they can read it in a different language, or maybe they need to hear it in a language, visually impaired or hearing impaired and can hear it a little louder. We offer that as well. And if you need it, if someone needs sign language or if they need some other language that's not there, you can bring the person with you. Or what you can do, and a lot of people don't know, it's not required. However, you can schedule those accommodations before you arrive to the polling location. So if you know which location you're going to, you know what time you're going and the date, you can schedule that. It may not be there at the exact time that you get there, however, they'll be in that vicinity. We break up the county into quadrants and we disperse people that provide those assistances accordingly. And so if someone is working with another person and you don't have it scheduled, they'll be there working there and they'll get to you as soon as they're done. However, if it's scheduled, they'll get to you at their scheduled time. And so if you know when you're going, if you're going with someone else, and you know they need that accommodation, it just makes a little more sense to schedule it if you can. But it's not required. Do not let that keep you from getting to the poll. That concludes my brief portion of this. I'll hand this back.
All right, y'all. I know y'all love hearing our lovely voices, but unfortunately we're coming to the end. So with that being said, we're about to do our Q&A. But while we're doing Q&A, if you would like to take a look at the voting demos and test out the machines, they're available to you while we're doing our Q&A. So without further ado, we'll open the floor to questions. Yes, sir.
I feel like I ask this every election cycle, but you know, like stuff be changing, and sometimes I don't feel like I always get a clear answer. So for people that's incarcerated, way due process has outsourced in different cities, maybe even Louisiana, how would they request a mail-in ballot?
That sounds like a question for Sasha or Marie. Okay, well,
I got you. So to request a mail ballot, they're going to have to request that from the officers at the jail themselves. So with that being said, they're completely within their rights to vote by mail because they are incarcerated, but in order to do so, they have to request it themselves. Nobody can do that for them. So if they request a mail-in ballot, we should be able to mail it out to them. But like I said, we have to get that request in, and unfortunately, the challenge with that is that a lot of people who are incarcerated don't even know that they can do that. They don't know that they can request a mail ballot. They don't know that we can actually mail it to them. So that's probably one of the big challenges, is making sure that people actually know that we can do that.
Just to clarify, when you say request it from the officer, you talking about an officer at EA's or an officer like as in the guard that walks the floor?
Yeah, I'm talking like staff, like in order to even like put it in the mail, they're gonna have to let somebody know, hey, I want to do ballot by mail. Yes, sir.
Do you have a plan for letting the people that are in prison know that they're able to vote like by mail? Is there like a plan for that?
So I will say that there are outreach and advocacy groups that do that, that actually go into the jails and canvas. It actually happens right here in Harris County Jail. We have groups that go in and canvas and let them know that they have the ability to do ballot by mail. We also have some groups that go in there and do voter registration as well too. But something I do want you to know about is that we do have voting in the Harris County jails. And the Harris County Clerk's Office and the Elections Department actually has a program where they do jail outreach. So what they do is they go in and get a list of all the everybody who's incarcerated and that is registered to vote. They cross-reference that with their voter rolls, and then they go in and canvass anybody who's registered to vote and let them know, hey, you can vote at the polling location inside the jail on election day. They sign a form saying that they would like to opt in to do that, and then they get the opportunity to vote on election day. I think Harris County is the first and only county in the state of Texas that's doing that right now. That's it.
Yeah, someone will have a driver's license or ID, and then his hands out there.
Say that one more time.
His hands out there, so they use it, you know, have a driver's license or
Gotcha. So the question was, can somebody use their library card as identification instead of their driver's license?
No, you can't. There are only 7 specific identifications that you can use. But if you don't have those cards, or that any of those IDs, there's a form that you will have to fill out. Because even if you're still a registered voter, it's not that you don't appear anywhere, but there is a form that you will have to fill out for that. We have a voter guide that's in your bag and also on the table, and it walks you through if you do not have that identification.
Right. And in that guide, just a quick thing that I want to add on, in that guide it will tell you the forms of identification. It will say under list A, right, which is what you can use to identify yourself at the polling location, and there's list B. So on list B, there's forms of identification that you can use, such as your voter registration certificate that comes in the mail. You can use that, but if you use any of the items from list B, you have to also sign that affidavit that Tanisha just mentioned. So you'll sign that form at the polling location, and then also present Form B. Marie?
Yeah, just real quick on voter ID, because it can get really tricky. So when they're talking about that form, that's called a reasonable impediment declaration. And what that is if you have a reasonable impediment to not being able to possess or obtain any of those IDs listed under A. It's not, oh, I left my driver's license at home and I'm going to vote from list B. You have to have a reasonable impediment, meaning that you're not able to obtain any of those 7 IDs that are listed. So always be sure that you call. If you have a question about your ID, call Harris Votes, call the clerk's office so that you can get direct information about how you can vote with the proper form of ID. So just clarify that.
Thank you. And then we have a question, right? Well, we had you in the back first. I'm sorry.
Appreciate that. Just from the esoteric, there's still a bit of misinformation out there. I've spoken to a few of my family members. Is it the case that you can vote in all 68 locations and all 701 on election day? But I talked to 2 family members and they're still thinking that they have to vote in their precinct on election day.
No, they do not have to vote in their precinct. Both for early voting and election day, they can vote at any Harris County polling location. And just a little bit of information, what happens is when you go to a polling location outside of your precinct, it doesn't matter because your ballot that's going to pull up on the machine is going to be based on your address that you're registered to vote at. So the ballot is automatically going to populate with the races for your actual address. So it doesn't matter which actual location you go to across the county.
And real quick, second part, for any polling location that happen to be late, due to the reason, is it that same number that we got, the 877?
Or are you talking about the outline number?
Yeah.
So the 2 numbers, this is our Harris County Clerk's Office. If you have questions about Harris County machines, Harris County locations, Harris County, that 866 number is the election protection. If you feel like somebody is impeding on your right to vote, or they are trying to mess with how you're voting, if you feel a little either uneasy or uncomfortable with, like if we were in here today telling you who to vote for and anything, no. So you will call the election protection hotline when you have concerns with your voting rights, if that makes sense. But as far as like the process and these machines or the judges is not, doing what you trained them to do, something like that, you call the county and that's these numbers.
I just want to make sure because the fact that the location is not opening up on time is in fact an impediment. So are we?
At that point, we will always direct you for that to the county. If you're feeling like it wasn't open on time for another underlying reason, you can call the election protection hotline. But because that is a county location, you call the county first. But I can't tell you not to call the other number as well.
One of the things I wanted to emphasize also that when I was doing monitoring for the Harris County counties, the college students, like Texas Southern and other places, they would come while I was assigned to the farm center area, and Texas Southern would bring the bus with the students on it to vote. However, some of the students that were on the bus were not qualified to vote in Texas because they were from other states and they didn't realize that they had taken care of it. So that needs to be emphasized as well.
Yes.
So they could vote.
So if you have college students or you know them, there are a couple of things. If they are out of state, they have to be registered here in Harris County. If they are in another state but they are registered here, they have to mail in a ballot. If they have a college ID, that does not work. In the state of Texas or in the state of Texas, you still have to have one of those 7 identifications, and a college ID is not one of them. So those things can sometimes be a challenge because some college students do not know that. So if you are connected to any college students, if they're like attending one of the universities but they're from out of state, it's too late unfortunately now to register in Harris County, but they can, whatever the rules apply, they can still vote in their home state. And then if they have a college ID, they actually need one of those 7 identification cards. I don't know. Sorry, we kind of real good, Joy. Go ahead, Joy.
So, I've come across some seniors, the phone banking, they're like, well, I'm still waiting for like an application to come to me. And, because of the law changes, they may or may not be able to submit an application on time. So will they be able to submit one for the
Thank you, Joy, for that question. I'm gonna look around the room to see. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the issue is, and what she's saying is absolutely true, it's because traditionally, Harris County, you were over 65, or you were disabled, and you had voted for a period of time, you didn't have to submit an application each year. Right. You always got one. So this time around, you have to fill it out. Like I was going through that now with like 6 people. Yeah. And they were like, well, I didn't get a ballot. I'm like, you're not gonna get one. Unless you get, so this time around, you have to fill out an application. If you don't, and so what I'm telling them is it's easier to just probably somebody to take you to the polling location that you curbside vote. Yeah. But then if they want a ballot, if they want a ballot automatically for the runoff, then they can go ahead and fill out the application. Otherwise, they will not get one automatically. I mean, that's the people think. I've actually got one for years, and they're right, but not this year.
And so she seems to be saying that there still has to be an application. I think that's probably why it's the 30 days in between. I don't know 100%. So we'll get in contact with the county clerk, harrisvotes.com, but I don't think, from what I've searched, runoff election information is not yet on the site, because technically we don't know if there will be one. Right. Traditionally, there may have been one, but. Thank you.
But you still need to fill out the application. Right. So that in the event that there is one for whatever reason, you would get one automatically. But if you don't fill out, my answer is if you don't fill out an application, and then the rule is now you have to fill it out by the year. Right. And then in on the application it asks, or do you want to fill this out annually? So if you fill it out this year, when the primary comes in, you still need to fill it out next year. So it won't last for 12 months. Right. No,
That's a good question.
I called the clerk.
Thank you.
Ask.
Me and say that's right. Ain't that? Is one of the forms of passport? Yes, I vote on my passport. Yes.
That's on this day.
Yes. He asked, is a form of ID, an eligible form of ID, the passport? Yes. I personally vote using my passport. I don't want any problem. Yes, ma'am. That's what she was just asking. We want to say yes, but I don't want to go on record and just say absolutely yes, because we go by whatever harrisvotes.com has, and at this moment it has not been posted yet. But tentatively, yes. She works for the county clerk's office, so I'll let her respond.
So yes, you have to apply to receive a ballot by mail, and as Erica said, that if you apply, it is run off the automatically sent to you. If you have not applied yet, you still want that ballot sent to you, you would need to send it in now, or right after the election, so you can get it. You won't get one for this election because of the deadline, unless you make it in for the deadline. However, when you do that and fill it out for the year, you're automatically get one for every election for the year, as long as it's not a primary. So for this year, yes, you will automatically get one as long as you fill one out.
So best practice, right? If you want to vote in person for the November 7th election, but you want to vote by mail for the possible runoff, is to submit that application right after this deadline. So right after this Friday. All right. Any other questions?
All right.
Yes, sir. I love this question. So what's my favorite website, y'all? Alright, so on harrisvotes.com, you can actually track the status of your ballot by mail application. So that's how he's going to be able to get updates. But if he doesn't feel like dealing with the website, I highly recommend just call the office. So that number that we had up there for the Harris County Elections Office, you just call that number and get an update on the status of his ballot application. So one, you can either use Harris Votes, or you can just give them a call.
And if all else fails, don't miss the opportunity. If you can, you know, that's why we have the curbside voting and things like that. If they can. Okay, this is probably our last one. Go ahead. Okay.
I really want to reiterate what you just said, because SB 1, because the state has taken over, especially when it comes to Harris County and our elections. Really everybody outside of going to the polling location, if you can, and mobility is not an issue, or transportation is not an issue for you, then go to the polling location and cast that vote if you truly want your vote to count, and not mail it in, if you have that option. But we all know SB 1 in the state, they are truly looking at Harris County for a reason that we care not to discuss at this moment. But just make sure you vote counts. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Roshan.
I was going to ask that first question. Hypothetically speaking, because we have been seeing this, but if a poll for some reason closed an hour early, 45 minutes early on election day, and it actually be the cause of your vote not being counted because you can't get to the poll, would the elections protection protect the vote, or is it over?
Call and see. No, we honestly, like, that is a great hypothetical, but I cannot stand on record to answer that to say, because that would be a whole different process to figure that out, right? So even if it closes an hour early, first call the county, because 7 p.m. is the time. Second, you are absolutely able to call election protection. But if all else fails, check their website and see what other voting locations are still open, and go over there.
And get in line before 7. And then they have to let you vote.
And get in line before 7. Okay, you guys. You can see us afterwards. We're your voting people. We want to say that. Okay, Captain, clap it up.
Yeah!
Woo! Thank y'all so much for coming. This is super important, super vital. You know, please share this information with your friends, families. I always tell people, I gotta tell my cousins first. Go to harrisvotes.com, see you at the polls, and you can stay a little bit afterwards to ask us.
And take a bag for a neighbor, a friend.
Take the bag. Take the bags, take the resources, take the food. Do not take the chairs or anything else. All the resources. Thank y'all.